Hi, I'm Paula from Seaham UK. Some of you might know me as Pebbles Rock Paula, as that's the name of my business, Pebbles Rock. It's also the name of my Etsy store for sea glass. Thank you, Kirsty, and everyone involved in making the virtual Beachcombing festival come to be. And thank you for watching this talk. I had hoped to take you on a tour of Seaham and its nearby beaches, but as we're under lockdown at the moment, it isn't possible. We are still allowed to go to the beach for daily exercise, but taking a film crew would be too much. So we've put together some clips of my previous film, All Washed Up. I hope you find it interesting. Seaham has developed a reputation for its sea glass, for both the variety found here and the condition of the pebbles we find, beautifully smoothed and rounded, and in such a wide variety of colours and types. Of course, there will be glass from ships and shipwrecks, but for the most part, the beautiful rounded glass on Seaham and nearby beaches is from either Seaham's Candlish Bottle Works, John Candlish's second factory in Sunderland, or Hartley Wood glass factory, which was located a little way north of Seaham in Hendon, Sunderland. Waste from these and other small factories was dumped at sea, as was the practice in Victorian times. Over time, the glass has been sea tumbled and carried ever closer to shore before emerging on Seaham's long series of beaches, as we'll now take you to see. 200 years ago, Seaham didn't exist. It was only after coal fields were opened up in the area that a harbour was built to export the coal to London, and from that a town grew. Here you can see how the harbour has expanded over the years, with the long harbour wall being built in 1900 to protect the harbour from the violent North Sea. Inside the harbour wall is a new man-made beach with no glass, but safe for families launching kayaks, etc. The marina you can see was in fact the original harbour. Beyond the harbour, looking north, you can see long stretches of beach which are the best hunting ground for sea glass. This film was shot at high tide, but the first beach we see, the smaller town beach, as the locals call it, isn't completely covered by the tide. This is a favourite area to search, as the harbour wall prevents much of the sea glass being carried down the coast and enables it to be washed ashore when the weather and tides allow. At the end of the town beach are the featherbed rocks. While the name sounds inviting, these are treacherous, especially with unpredictable waves. Even at low tide, we did not attempt to clamber over the rocks to reach the next stretch of beach. The North Sea is pretty wild at times, as you can see here on a typical winter's day, and not even a stormy one. The town beach is steep in places, and being a shingle beach, searching for glass can be quite tricky, but the rewards are great. Often I'm there alone, enjoying the view out to sea, and often ending with a hot chocolate at the Lookout Cafe by the marina. I'll hand you over to my earlier self to tell you more. Autumn, my favourite time. As you can see, it's not exactly a pretty beach, but I like it. Starting just north of the harbour wall, the beach is split into sections by the headland, the tiny town beach being a favourite, and then past the headland, the much longer North Beach with its sea wall and promenade that protects the beach from erosion of the cliffs. When the tide comes in, you can see why, as the beach completely disappears, and in storms, even the sea wall can be swamped with huge waves. This can be a nuisance when, as the days become shorter, the low tides can both occur in darkness. On the other hand, there is the knowledge that out there in the violence of the waves can be found treasure. Of course, somewhere out there is real treasure, from Spanish Armada galleons to all manner of cargo ships lost over the years. The treasure I'm looking for is much rarer and hard to spot. Sea glass is washed up daily, twice a day, and if it isn't spotted and rescued, it will be buried or taken back out to sea, often to be lost forever.
Oh, hello! Look what we found! Sea marble!
One of the challenges when looking for sea glass on the shingle and not on the sand is the colours. The variety of colour in the stones can hide the more subtle shades of glass, but also makes it harder to spot any glass as your eyes expect to see stones. This is especially true of the greys and blues. Patience is often required to find those mostly transparent multis that have only a hint of colour, something I like to call just-in-time multis, as when I find them, it's often just before the last traces of colour are removed by the sea tumbling, such as the one I'm about to rescue here.
Got it. Hang on.
Most frustrating are the ones that get away. They appear on the edge of the tide, just out of reach, and before you can grab them, the next wave snatches them back, sometimes forever. Of course, I found myself waiting and looking for pieces to return, especially if they're reds or oranges, but it seldom happens that way. There's also a degree of danger in doing this, as I've seen other people being swept off their feet in only a few inches of water. Once the tide is fully in, the beach disappears completely, and you're left to walk back on the seawall. At the Candlish Glass Works, a glassmaking apprentice would be taught many techniques during training and would finally be expected to create a glass walking cane. This one is a single shade of aqua with a barley twist. Some were made with a black or coloured stripe in the twist. I consider myself fortunate to own this plain and elegant cane. We occasionally find pieces of glass cane on the beach. I have one or two from Seaham Beach, but most of mine are from slightly further south, Hawthorne, Shippersea and Easington. As I mentioned the possible origin of certain colours and patterns earlier, let's consider Hartley Wood's creations for a while. There is a likelihood that some or many of Seaham's multicoloured pebbles originated from Hartley Wood. They produced a wide variety of stained glass after the First and Second World Wars for churches and cathedrals. Leftover scraps could be used to make these sought-after vases. Occasionally, I think they threw all colours at their disposal in the mix, and psychedelic creations came out of the annealing kiln when cooled and ready. As the temporary owner of this vase, which is a mixture of blues and purples, I decided to take a little time to look through some multis for a matching sea glass pebble. Lots of you have seen the beautiful Hartley Wood collection in Beachcombing magazine, with the sea glass to match. Those colourful creations belong to my friend Mandy, who made it her mission to have good examples of their work. I'm not sure of the age of this piece, but it has a roughly snapped pontil and no manufacturer stamp on the base. As a result of the massive quantities of bottles that were produced in Seaham, most of the sea glass colours we find are shown here: black, white, aqua, green, amber, brown, and blue to a lesser extent. Cod marbles are a personal favourite. A cod marble could have been rolling around with the tide for more than 100 years. I wonder if I'm alone in enjoying the view inside of a damaged piece of sea glass. All the bubbles visible within from the day it was created and cooled are mesmerising. Some glass has cooled down way too fast. The effects of rapid cooling can be seen in local slag glass, where crystals have formed internally or externally, making stunning patterns. At Shippersea, near Seaham, we find two unique types of slag glass: dragon glass and boaty blues. Every visit to the beach can provide surprises, whether it's finding sections of bottle smoothed and looking gorgeous, or stumbling over a family of starfish, not seen here for many years due to pollution from industrial waste being dumped in the sea, but now, as the coastline recovers, returning to the beaches. We also find spider crabs and signs of octopus eggs, showing a rapid recovery of the coastline. Hardest of all to spot are the black glass pebbles, such as this secret rainbow, which most people would glance at and assume it to be a black pebble. But hold it to strong light and you'll be amazed. Finally, before I go, let me tell you about the legends and mystery at Seaham. There used to be talk of a pirate who lived in Seaham. Really, it was just a gravestone in the old churchyard that had a skull and crossbones at the top, a common Victorian motif. This helped inspire me to write my 5 children's books, the Legend of Mermaid's Tears series. I began a series of pocket guides. Finally, my partner Dave created Trebles, a memory card game for all ages. The response of this was so good, we decided to develop an actual board game, Pebbles. These are all available online at pebblesart.uk. I hope that's given you a flavour of Seaham and some of the colour of sea glass to you at home. Hopefully, some of you will be able to visit before too long, and for everyone else, there's Etsy. Take care of yourselves.